Hi there, welcome to another help video. In this video, we will be going over the podcast section of the Tools tab. So let's begin. Let's first go over how to create a podcast. So click the green Create a New Podcast button. Next, fill out all the podcast details. For best results, fill out all fields. So first, I'm going to upload an image. Next, select the category that your podcast falls under. Enter the title of the podcast, this podcast subtitle, a description, which is a short 1 to 2 sentence description of the podcast, the author, the owner name, the owner email, the copyright year and or any other copyright information. Select the options provided for your podcast explicit status, and specify whether or not you want a subscribe link. These last couple options are for iTunes, and if you have any more questions regarding that, click this blue link at the bottom for more information. So after you've filled out all the fields, click the blue Create a Podcast button. As you can see, the podcast was created successfully, so now let's go back. As you can see, my podcast has been listed with all the other shows that I have on the website. Now let's go to the demo site to see what this looks like. Podcasts will automatically display neatly on your podcast page on your website. If the podcast page is a main button in your website's main menu, like this one, then a link to each podcast is also added as a subpage under the podcast menu button. So when I hover over this, as you can see, the 3 shows that we have show up. So I'm going to click mine, and here's the page for my podcast. As you can see, it says no episodes found. So let's go over how to upload episodes. So I'm going to go back to the admin. As you can see, there are a couple different options here that I'm going to go over. First, this button here is to view the current episodes that you already have for your podcast. Since I just created this podcast, there are no episodes already made. I could either click here to upload a new media file, or go back and click the second button, which is where I could upload a media file. Here is where you can enter the details for Here is where you enter all the new details for your episode. So title, subtitle, a description of the episode, the explicit status, and here is where you can upload your file. So you have 2 options here. You can either upload a file from your computer. I do want to note, however, that file size limitations apply when using this option. The other option is to insert a URL. If you are using a file that is already uploaded on another server, just insert the link here. No file size limits apply with this option. Next, enter the duration of the episode. Select an image for your episode. You can choose the status of whether or not you want it published or saved as a draft, and then the published date and time. You are able to schedule posts with this option or upload them immediately. Once you upload all this information, click the Add Save Changes button. I just created an episode and it was saved, so let's go back to the episode list. And as you can see, it was uploaded here. This is the title, the link, the description, duration, status, and date. You also have the option to edit or delete it here. Let's go back to the admin page so I can show you what this looks like on the website. So we'll go over back to podcasts, Peyton's podcast. And as you can see, here's a description of the whole show and then episode 1. The more episodes you have, the more that they will list below. I want to note that you can upload as many podcast episodes for your podcast as you want. There is no limit for each podcast you have or have created for your website. I just want to quickly go over the rest of these icons. The yellow edit icon is to edit the podcast. You can use the red trash icon to delete the podcast entirely. However, this will delete all episodes as well, so use this with caution. And finally, you can use this tool to drag and change the order that your podcasts are displayed on your website. So the order has been saved, so let's go back to the website and reload it. And now Peyton's podcast is second instead of first. And that wraps up this video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to visit our help center or contact customer support. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our other help videos and we'll see you next time.